It's Spoilerin time. This show is built on the back of Cordkillers. Cordkillers is a show where we talk about all the things that are happening that allow us to watch a show. Then we get to watch them and talk about them here. This week we'll be spoiling Hannibal, season 2, episode 5, Invincible, the first 4 episodes of its first season, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, season 1, episode 3. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Heck yeah, dude. And I'm not cosplaying as the Winter Soldier because he got a haircut. So just to make that clear.
You could be cosplaying as a Winter Soldier.
Your Winter Soldier.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Winter Soldier.
No, keep your shirt on. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. No, I was just removing my arm.
Let's talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 3 of season 1. Listen, I will be the guy that defends this show because I'm having less of a bad time watching it now than I did in the first episode. But I'm still kind of getting bored during it.
Yep.
You guys are enjoying it less than me, though, right? So I think it's my job to defend it.
I made a big deal last week of giving it the most improved trophy, and
right.
I'll stand behind that.
That last week was the best.
Did it improve again?
That last week was the most improved. This week was. This week is Tom. Are you familiar with the curse of being on the cover of Sports Illustrated?
Yes.
Economists call it a regression to the mean. And because what gets you on the cover of Sports Illustrated is having an extraordinary year, but eventually you get back to being however good you are.
Yeah. They don't put you on the cover before the extraordinary year.
That's correct. That's correct. So imagine the show started and then it showed up on the cover of Sports Illustrated and... I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. I am enjoying the banter. I thought the Zemo stuff was okay.
You know what? Actually, let's take a quick side jag. The Zemo stuff was better. Zemo was better in this episode than he was in Civil War. It was
I'll back that.
He was dumb as hell in Civil War. I hated him in Civil War. I hated what he brought to that movie, but I kind of dug what I saw. Like I love the Blade Runner world that they were running around in. Didn't remotely find any kind of possible reason why, Captain America's neighbor needed to be there, but whatever.
Definitely, this was a moment. I'm always on this about the Marvel stuff, but this was an episode. By the end, I was completely lost because I forgot who I knew that Zemo was a guy. The lady showed up and I was like, was she in an earlier episode? I don't know who this is. I don't know what.
2 different movies, Civil War and Winter Soldier.
She was in Civil War.
She was in Winter Soldier.
I didn't see Winter Soldier.
You've got to watch. Oh my God.
No,
you will love it. You will love it. Winter Soldier is so good.
Is it better than this?
Oh, way better. Way better. Way better. It's so good. Yes, It's good.
I just couldn't help shake the feeling that this episode was very designed by committee. Like when they go up to Novapur and it's like, oh, we want it to kind of look like a cyberpunk slum with us. There should be some fluorescence. Madripoor, excuse me.
Yeah.
There should be some neons and some fluorescent lights. And, there's some Japanese over here. And then there's some Thai over here. And then they're eating a snake in a shot. Oh, isn't that so interesting? I'm
waiting for the part that's not awesome because all of those were the best parts of this episode.
I agree that those were the best parts of this episode. And also, they felt there was no edge to this. I feel like this is trying to be a show with a very sharp edge, right? You have 2 main characters who are kind of bitter, kind of angry, they kind of snip at each other, but
you don't believe them.
I don't believe them, and I don't believe that there's any edge. There's this big montage when they go into the slum, and it's like this kind of generic sounding hip hop trap style beat, and it's like none of these people are badass. I'm like none of this stuff sells for me, which is tough because that's what a lot of this is riding on.
But this is Marvel. This is superhero. It is family friendly. It always has been. This isn't a compromise because they're making Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I would disagree that the show is meant to be family friendly. Only because they definitely, I guess it is TV-14, but they definitely use language that would make me think that this is not supposed to be family friendly.
Well, it's not like
you get 2 S words per word or per thing.
Right. Yeah, just
Yeah,
for me,
Family friendly. I did.
inauthentic is what the feeling I had.
So the moment I felt the thing that you're describing is what should have been a really powerful moment, which is when his sister called, and for whatever reason they're like, answer it in front of all of us. That should have had real stakes and real potency, and it was cute. It was cute, but it could have been electric. And
they definitely set it up like he knew what he was supposed to do, and that she would like luck into it, and just didn't at all. I don't know. I'm not jiving with it. I'm not on the same frequency as
Ken from Chicago in the chat says Brian likes his steak sharpened.
there should be stakes. I agree,
and that's true.
This is a big fighting
that is
action
my weakness.
show.
I like being scared of real disaster.
Yeah, and that's not what this is.
Nope.
And I think that's why I tend to get a little drifty when I'm watching it, and why it's tempting to just start taking pot shots at everything. But my principle is you pick on things that wouldn't bother you if the rest of it was working. And so the problem is never that thing over there or that didn't make sense. Like that's just stuff you do because you're not enjoying yourself.
Correct.
If you're enjoying yourself, you forgive all those things. And what's happening with me is I'm enjoying parts of it enough where I'm like, okay, I don't want to pick on it. And I get a little, I was making jokes with Bryce on Twitter about get off my lawn. This is fine. But I also recognize that the stakes aren't high enough to have me on the edge of my seat. And even while I'm enjoying parts of it, it's easy for me to drift away because I know they'll be fine.
So this is, as I have in my heart, I think of as the Men in Black law. Men in Black has some objectively nonsense garbage rules, and everything is silly. But I was never bored, and I never paused to think, wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
if you ever find yourself thinking, wait, that doesn't make any sense, then why wouldn't they? That is the fault of the movie, not of the viewer. And there's a lot in this series that I find myself thinking.
It's not for
it doesn't make any sense.
It's simply not for me. That's like the harshest thing I want to give to it. It's very much not for me, and I know it.
Right.
There are a lot of people enjoying this, right? And that's because they want a lightweight buddy action comedy. And that's what they're getting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, too lightweight, because if it gets too lightweight, you lack stakes, and I love stakes.
If for you, right? Yeah. If you want no stakes lightweight comedy, here's the thing for you. That's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Any other thoughts on that?
Real quick, I do want to give a nod to. I think most of our beefs are with story and pacing. I do want to take a moment and say, visually, a real treat and a tableau we've never seen before in the MCU. I liked it a lot. Even though it was a short beat, Falcon trying to pretend to be a pimp, whatever that was, I enjoyed it fine.
Yeah.
There's some funny beats.
There are a few fun beats, but in general, man, sorry, man. Congrats, MCU. You did the switcheroo because WandaVision belonged in front of you, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
So Zemo was good. Sharon Carter confused Bryce, but I was happy to see her. I didn't even think about her kind of coming out of nowhere. I thought that was fun. And Io from Wakanda showing up at the end has me intrigued. I was like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do with her. So, good stuff. That is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 3 of season 1. Let's talk about Invincible, episodes 1 through 4. So the first 3 came out all at once 2 weeks ago. And then episode 4 came out at the end of last week. So we are 4 episodes into the season now. And Brian, it sounds to me like maybe you're enjoying it.
I don't even want to go first. Bryce, what did you think?
Tom, tell me if this matches an experience that you had. I really, really dug the first episode. I was like, this is cool. We're kind of getting some family stuff. We're kind of getting some real, kind of serious, like kind of the gruesome part of right? If they were superheroes, there's maybe kind of a little gruesomeness to it. And the end of the first episode where the team just gets very brutally murdered, I thought that was very cool. I think that's a good thread that we're seeing evolve over all 4 episodes. The thing I really didn't like in these first 4 episodes was the very beginning of episode 2, where the Men in Black team shows up and they have all of their gadgets and doodads, and I think pretty strongly telegraphed that all of those characters will be just fine. They're all going to live or show up in some other form somewhere down in this series. And I that was just the one twinge that I had of like, oh, we almost made me think that they were gonna die, but then they put ahead
the Guardians of the Globe. Yeah, I actually disagree.
No, they're dead. Like I thought they very they buried people.
They did some Jeep Jops and gizmos where it's like memorials. They took a severed head and put it on a gizmo.
They did enough. They did enough.
I thought they were going to save them when they did that, and then later they're like, "Yeah, the only one we could save was Omni-Man." You've decided that that's not true, and you could still be right. The story is telling you you're wrong. Don't worry.
Okay. I don't believe it. I'm a truther. I'm a truther that one of those 8 people is going to be back alive, or 7 people.
Here's the reason I think they're all truly dead, is because if they had deviated at all from the Justice League of America paradigms, instead when he's given the memorial speech and he names 8 names and they're all like War Woman, Nightwing, it looks like Martian, the guy from Mars,
sure,
half robot, half human man. I was like, oh no, they're definitely burying all of that.
I'd love to be surprised by them just completely staying dead.
Assume they're dead now. What's funny is the only the only character that is still just a blatant ripoff that still appears to have a presence is my favorite character, which is like, how about we just do Rorschach, but he's a demon. He's just a demon. And in fact, all the dialogue from Rorschach on Watchmen, just copy paste. It's amazing. I love this. I love this show so much. I love it.
I mean, he's definitely, at least aesthetically, like a Hellboy type character.
That's correct.
He's got a Hellboy look. He's got a Rorschach attitude, and he's got you won't get this reference, but he's got a Bobby Dollar mode. Bobby Dollar is a series of books about a demon detective. And I'm like, he's actually following that. That may be unintentional, but that's what I got out of him too.
It's so great.
Though I think by the end of the 4th episode, he has walked off the stage, right?
They've pushed him down to hell.
Give a hint, he was ejected from our plane, but then there's a brief 10-second hint of you see breath go cold, and it's like maybe he's not entirely gone.
When they clearly killed people and buried them and gave them eulogies and said they're never coming back, you're like, I don't know. But when they sent the guy to hell, leaving open the door, like,
you just got Damien Dark-Blooded.
I forgot. Look, we had to watch a lot, but I truly believe that they're lying about at least one of those characters being dead. I truly believe that.
You definitely need to put this on your blog and in your Telegram channel.
Invincible Anon is going to be.
Did not mind that.
We didn't get your general impression.
Rexplosion or whatever. Definitely played by Derek from The Good Place.
Jason Mantzoukas, yeah.
So great. Sorry. You had a take.
It's a very recognizable voice. I've listened to a lot of him on podcasts and stuff. Yeah, so it's very hard for me not to imagine.
It's like Dan Harmon showing up on Rick and Morty, where it's just like you're just snapped out of it. Yeah.
I mean,
but he's good.
I don't like X-Ray, as I've made clear to Brian. So I definitely didn't tap to find out who that voice was and confirm it.
Well, if you had, you would have been very satisfied and tapped many more times, because there's a lot of great names that pop up there throughout this
every
entire
time
cast.
I went over to my phone and I picked it up and looked at
here's my take is, number one, I love it. I love it because I love The Boys on Amazon, and I tried to show my 13-year-old, but by episode 3, it's like, I know what happens on episode 4. This is never going to happen. I can't. And so we didn't, but I'm like, anyway, that's pretty much The Boys. outside of one very, very graphic animated scene in episode 1, everything else seems kind of fair game, and it's pretty much a very similar plot, which I like a lot.
You could almost describe it as The Boys meets Venture Brothers, right? It's got a comic streak that's not as wacky as the Venture Brothers, but it's got that boys like let's turn superheroes on the side, maybe not all the way on the head.
It has an edge.
Well, let's make Superman evil, basically, and show what unfettered power. And they're starting to, by episode 4, sort of hint that, like, especially as Invincible, Omni-Man's son, starts bragging that he's a Vitruvian or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm afraid somebody's gonna explain to him, you realize what you're saying you are, right? And it's probably not going to be a great thing.
What I really like about that thread, because I think it's a great thread, I think they do a good job of like playing it questionable, especially where Omni-Man is this show can go either way, right? Either the son can be like, oh yeah, you know what, definitely the two of us are going to try to rule Earth, or I have to stop my father and do the kind of, the good guys, the good guy or the bad guy path, and I don't know which way it's going to go.
Well, and
I don't, and I love that.
Homelander is very clearly evil, and he is
in The Boys.
He is protected by a thin veneer of a public image.
Right.
Omni-Man is not. Omni-Man is, he's a family man. We see him at home acting nice and being good and raising his son. It's like way more like unusual that he would have that dark side, and I'm very fascinated with what happened and what he did and why, because he very clearly knows that he's covering up something. So it's not I was under control of something else, I don't think.
In that regard, it's sort of an awesome wink that I don't know who the guy's name is, but the guy played by Walton Goggins, who can teleport in everywhere. To be honest, it reminds me of the Shield a lot, where it's just like, so we have a guy who is the man, and we watch him do something objectively terrible. And I hope, fingers crossed, much like the Shield, we get more and more complicated feelings about the why he did all of these things.
There seems to be a lot more going on.
Right. Like what if he had a reason? Because it definitely happened on the day that his son got his powers, and my guess is, for all I know, I'm making this up, and I know there's a comic, but like maybe Omni-Man is like, well, here we have a code. We take over planets by pretending to protect them, and now that you are here, it was my duty to kill all pretenders to the throne. This is your planet now, and per our code, I will go off or you will kill me or whatever. And there'll be complicated decisions to figure out.
Also, they keep revealing that Cecil and the GDA knows more than we thought.
Right.
And so I wouldn't be shocked if the GDA hired Omni-Man to kill off the Guardians of the Globe.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Well, they, I got the impression from episode 4 that they were tolerating, like, yes, we know he killed them, but we can't let him know that we know that he killed them because there's some bigger plan.
And we still have all these problems, right?
That could be what Cecil is telling his immediate.
Correct. Totally.
Right?
All of that. Yeah, no, it's all chess.
Yeah. That's the other thing is I like how I think pretty much every episode has ended with a threat, and none of those threats have come back. For sure, we have the clones, which we followed. They got defeated in the first episode, and now they've recloned and they're on the march. We have the Mauler on Mars that they said if any one human ever got taken over, it would be the end. And we see one human got taken over, and so we don't know what that is going to end up being. And I think I'm probably forgetting a couple of others out there.
Music is great. I love
the fact that the clone. I meant the astronaut.
They licensed really good music.
That seems like something that Amazon series just in general do, is like they always try to get a couple of like very noticeable kind of big name music licenses. I don't know if you guys have caught this in like other Amazon stuff, but I definitely feel like I caught that a couple times where it's like, oh, this feels like a way more expensive license than you needed to do for this moment. But this is Amazon kind of flouting their large ass.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Or they got a deal because of their largesse. I don't know. Also, Robot. Robot's
is
cool.
I love.
He's also not 100% good.
Well, he's effective.
He took a DA-net test and found out he's 100% that robot.
That robot, I do love. Like at first, I'm like, that's kind of weird. That robot looks like. Is that a grandma bun and grandma dentureless teeth? And then at some point, I'm like, that ain't on accident. like that's definitely.
He definitely looks evil.
Well, or looks like like a grandma or whatever.
Grandma robot.
Yeah.
Am I remembering this wrong, or did the robot steal some DNA from Rex?
They did mention like that moment. Yes, that was in there, but I assume he grabbed a whole bunch of stuff.
Robot's up to no good. I'm just saying.
But Cecil seemed at, I think it was the end of episode 4 where that was revealed, right? Where the robot was behind something. I forget what it was. But then he sees Cecil, and it seems like
that's why I have suspicions. Cecil is sus.
Cecil.
Cecil. Yep. 100%. Any other thoughts on Invincible other than we're enjoying it?
Love it.
I think it's cool. I think it's good.
All right, we will catch up to talking about one episode a week next week on Invincible, but that is episodes 1 through 4. Let's move on and talk about Hannibal season 2, episode 5, Mukozuke. Freddie Lowndes is back. We got the Chesapeake Ripper, fake Chesapeake Ripper. Abel Gideon is back. We got accusations flying around. We also have the body of Beverly Ketz turned into several life-size slides.
Yeah, a knockoff of Body Worlds, the German art exhibit.
It is kind of like that. You're right.
It is.
Yeah.
So this is about the chess game between Hannibal and Graham, and everybody else is just a piece, including Dr. Chilton.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
We find out that Hannibal did not kill the bailiff, and Graham manipulates the guy who did kill himself by using Freddie Lowndes to get him to reveal himself, and turns out he's an orderly, and then he tries to get the orderly to kill Hannibal.
Yeah,
that felt very out of place.
I agree. It felt like in this show, like we weren't gonna see a character pop up and then take down Hannibal Lecter. So it's like it lacked tension for me.
I also
he got pretty close.
He did, and if it was because Dr. Bloom, was trying to be a good Samaritan, right? Trying to do the good thing, but not the right thing.
Will was up to something. Yeah.
But it was definitely, once he's the orderly guides. Is it Dr. Bloom in to see Will, and he's like, the fact that he has any lines at all, you're like, oh, this guy's gonna be something. This guy's gonna. All right.
I have an admirer. Hi, it's me, a character who just showed up. I'm like, well, let me guess.
But I almost didn't like the canonization that Hannibal didn't do both of the courtroom murders.
You mean the bailiff?
The bailiff and the
judge?
And the judge.
Yeah.
The bailiff was sloppier, though. So
that's true.
I sort of, and maybe I'm retconning it, but I sort of looked at it as like, oh yeah, the bailiff always seemed like it was not sophisticated enough. So that kind of explains that for me.
Yeah.
True.
It was fine. It was a fine episode of Hannibal. Did we end with him still on the noose, or did they resolve it super fast?
Crawford comes out and gets him back. And
yeah.
And we see it ends. I had to make sure I checked, but yeah, and it ends with us looking at Will, looking at the sink overflowing with blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now Hannibal's coming for Will, and Will has nowhere to run.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely in a setup to a bigger.
I mean, Hannibal could come for Will. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll forgive Will. Maybe he'll respect Will for making the effort.
I mean, I don't know that it seems like in general, having Hannibal's attention, full stop, not a great place to be.
Which Will has had all the way, right?
Right.
So it's never
Right.
been comfortable. So I think it is a legitimate question of whether Hannibal looks at this and goes, boys will be boys. Now, I've wanted you to be my friend, and this is the kind of thing I would expect from a person like us. So let's just, let's rearrange our feelings here. You struck out at me and you shouldn't have. Like I could see him taking that approach to it.
I can't.
You think that this is just
I think Hannibal
game is
likes having either complete control and pawns or nothing in between. But Hannibal,
Well, yeah, he
doesn't do
definitely wants
allies.
complete
Yeah.
control of Will, but you don't get complete control of Will if you kill him.
Sure, you do. You controlled the fact that he's no longer on the chessboard.
but then
well-
you're not playing the game anymore.
Yeah. And there's something special about Will. He sees Will as possibly his only friend. We established that over multiple episodes.
Yeah, I don't know how much I believe that anymore. I think that's
Really?
the kind of thing you tell your fake therapist.
Yeah,
I don't know why he would keep being involved with Will if that weren't true, though.
I mean, because he's interesting. Like I don't. I am. How can I put this? My Weimaraner found a baby rabbit.
aw,
I believe my Weimaraner would tell me that baby rabbit was its friend.
Mhm.
That baby rabbit was screaming in the mouth of my Weimaraner.
Yeah.
And I think that's how.
I think you
I know
nailed
that-
it. No, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, no, I think that's right.
Because the
And
dog's
that's
still going
why-
to chase.
Right,
Dog's still going to
right.
hunt.
when the baby rabbit bites the Weimaraner in the Hannibal case, Hannibal's going to go like, I should have expected that.
Right.
And yes, the baby rabbit the Will Graham is still going to be screaming, but if he wants to keep playing with it, Hannibal's careful enough. I don't know about your Weimaraner. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but Hannibal's careful enough not to kill it unless he means to.
Yeah. My Weimaraner's no Hannibal.
I kind of assumed maybe that was the case, so I didn't want to push the metaphor too far.
But I will say, Will being locked up makes him a difficult target.
And
I mean, can
he's
we agree?
actually
Like he's physically kind of there's
protected. Yeah.
right.
He
He's in a
also
bubble.
makes him a less challenging target. Hannibal likes to
Well,
have the tableau.
but
Right.
but
This
also
is my
Will,
design.
Will is
Yeah.
Will is being very smart to attract the attention of many other people. Will knows that the more eyeballs that are on him, the safer he is, and the better he gets to try to cast his lure in their metaphor.
Oh, right. Yeah. It was a little heavy handed, but I did sort of like the idea of like, oh, yeah, no, he can't hunt anymore because he's locked up. He has to lure. So,
Right.
any other thoughts on Hannibal episode 5, season 2?
This is fine. This felt like we needed a bit of release from Jack's wife trying to commit suicide. Fine wink to the classic Hannibal Lecter look with the straitjacket or whatever.
Yeah. For sure.
Didn't feel like a lot happened. I didn't care for the abrupt entrance and exit of the orderly of the week.
This
or
this
whatever.
was Will Graham's move on the chessboard. That's what this episode was.
right.
That's what happened.
It was a reminder that he's a player.
And
Yeah.
we are almost at the halfway point of the season. I mean, this is a network show. This is where the lulls are going to be.
We are.
Right.
Out of 13 episodes, yeah, we're getting
This is
there.
when you said this was a network show, I suddenly increased the number to 26 in my head, but you're right.
So
yeah.
funny.
We're at 5 of 13, right? So yeah.
Cool.
Right. Well, folks, that is Hannibal episode 5 of season 2. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. It is because you support us on Patreon that we're able to do this. We're able to hang out. We're able to chat about these shows. If you are a Patreon, you Patreon supporter, you get these episodes a little earlier, and you get After Talk, where we talk a little bit more about the kinds of stuff we might choose here and what we're talking about. So Become a patron if you're not already. Patreon.com/Cordkillers. Next week, Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 4, Invincible episode 5, and Hannibal season 2, episode 6. We'll spoil you then.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.